four properties. They're all here on the Outer Banks. We have two large oceanfronts and two smaller properties, and that's also been great advantage, I think, for me now, because I see it from both sides. I see it from a management standpoint, being a professional manager, and all the things we have to do to take care of the properties and get them cleaned and keep owners engaged on putting money back into the property. And then I find myself on the other side too. When that work order comes across, and I'm like, what do you mean that the toilet is clogged? It was working 3 days ago. It's a crazy business.
Yeah. So I guess you see like short-term rentals. Most people are trying to figure out like, hey, should I go like more beds, more money, or like go on the smaller end? Because I've heard, I guess it might be the stat. I'm not sure if it's exactly correct, that most people that search Airbnb are like between 1 to 2 people. So should people still look at the high end because it might give a more return, or the low end?
Yeah, so I don't own any properties over $500,000, and the properties I manage are probably under that price point as well. I think so I don't have like a really good perspective into the larger properties. The largest property I have is a 4-bedroom, and it only sleeps 8, so that's like the maximum amount of any. I guess I have one property I manage for a friend's family that sleeps 10. I think in my past experience, what I've found is like the 6 to 10 people vacation is like the sweet spot for me in particular, where it's the family that has 4 kids, or you have 2 families that maybe both have a kid that want to go vacation. I think that there's nothing wrong with going higher end, more luxury, expensive properties that are $1 million or like 700, 800, 900,000. I also, on the flip side of that, though, think that those are potentially going to be the properties that, if there is a recession or anything like that, they could be hit most, because less people, especially less larger groups, are going to be potentially taking less vacations. Whether or not that actually happens, I don't know. But I personally don't own or manage anything that sleeps over 10 people. So I don't have like a very good understanding of what that market looks like.
If I could get on the coattails there, your comment there about Airbnb, I think is spot on, because it's really market driven and it's also customer driven. And I do believe most of the Airbnb clientele is looking for more last minute. I mean, there are some long-term stays, in terms of booking now for June, but I think most of the Airbnb business I see is more shorter term and smaller. For you guys are millennials, you know that it's mostly millennial driven. But the other platform we use, Vrbo, is almost exactly the opposite. They're looking for full houses. They're looking for family reunions. It's long-term booking versus arrival. And, in terms of which is the best, you really have to look at your own comfort level. I was just a little palpitation in my heart when you were talking about, I'm thinking about affordability. My wife and I just bought a large oceanfront. The mortgage on that thing's $8,000 a month.
Yeah, I knew it had to be bad.
Not just tighten up a little bit on that. I can take the $1,000 mortgage pretty well. So 3 of our 4 properties are smaller, and they book like crazy. The larger one, man, I'm like, come on, give me another booking. I got it.
Yeah, that's a lot of overhead.
Some of the properties it's not unusual for us to have 250, 300. I've got one that had almost $500,000 in rental income last year.
Jeez.
I can't imagine a mortgage.
Because I know, on Outer Banks, there are some massive, like, it looks like almost like hotel houses. Mm-hmm. So do y'all manage a couple of those? And I guess like who usually books that? Just large like weddings? I've probably seen some weddings do it.
Yeah, the wedding business, of course, slowed down a lot over the last 2 years, but yeah, we get those large family reunions. And then speaking of that booking window, those people don't make last-minute decisions on that. They're booking a year in advance, 9 months in advance.
Yeah.
Yes, we do manage a few of those. I'd say about 20 large properties that sleep more than 25 people. I've got one that sleeps 40. And it's almost like a resort. itself. It's got its, they all have their own swimming pools. They have theater rooms. They have,
Yeah, everything.
everything. I mean, you don't
It's like one of those like little cruises that they just put in made in the house.
yeah, we just don't have fruits.
What is it like, Tim? I'm curious because I've never managed anything of that size. What do you think is like some of the biggest differences in managing something of that size versus something that's a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom that is pretty standard for like turning and pretty standard for like what issues pop up?
The cleaning fee.
That's so. I think the first thing that comes to mind, Travis, is the number of people in the house and the wear and tear on the furniture, and the fact that Tyler Wynn may have booked this house and he's the leaseholder. Well, you've got this mother-in-law who calls every flipping day about some problem with the house. Just magnified in the 3. Yeah, and have one troublemaker on the front of 640. You got the aunt and the cousin who aren't on the lease, but they're still calling every day about something. And it's just more to it. It's just so much more to it.
So I guess one of the big kind of shifted a little bit. One of the big questions everyone's trying to figure out because you hear on the social media like everyone's like scared like, oh, we're recession. I'm curious, Tim, because you've been in the game for like I think it was like 35 years, and then your family's done it before that. So you've been through a bunch of market cycles. So I'm curious what your thoughts are from like what's coming now, and like how did it look like back then?
Yeah, if this recession ever gets here,
Yeah.
it's like it's coming. I'm telling you, people, it's good. But in terms of what to do, I think there's like a God-given right for people to take vacations, and so if you position yourself with a vacation rental in a market that's steady, which Travis is. In several markets, you told me the other day, you've got international travelers, you've got drive-to destinations, you've got fly-to destinations, so you kind of cover it all across the board. I am definitely a drive-to destination.